Hello everyone, my name is Shannon and today we're going to discuss a couple of things regarding the VEES return. Basically, if you're registered for VAT and supply goods and services to customers in the EC, you'll need to submit a VAT information exchange system return to revenue. Now, if you have multiple companies, you must submit a VEES return for each company that you have. The VEES return includes all transactions that meet the following criteria. So if the transaction has a tax code which is linked to EC sales, now by default this would be T4 and T22. If the transaction is posted to a customer who is VAT registered in other EC member states, and if the customer record includes a valid VAT number and EC code. Now when you're submitting your VEES return, you can submit on a monthly or quarterly or annual basis, depending on if it includes goods or services. Now just to know, quarterly is meant by calendar quarter, such as January, March, April, June, and so on, and not based on your financial year quarter, if this differs to the calendar quarter. So here we're going to look at how to calculate and save your VEES return. So on your list of modules, select your VAT module and then click on the VEES return. If your options do not match what you see here, it may be because of your regional settings that they're not set to English Ireland, so you will need to amend these on your desktop before proceeding. The first thing that you're going to do is enter your start and end dates and then choose the appropriate period reference from the drop-down and then click on your calculate button. You can use the blank option when you want to run a return that isn't either for a month or a quarter. Then below, the list appears showing the EC VAT registered customers who have received sales invoices with an EC tax code from you in the reporting period. Once you click calculate, your transactions appear as shown. The columns will show the country code on the customer account, the customer's VAT registration number, the total value of the invoice goods and services, less any credit notes posted with an EC tax code, and the flag column is used to indicate transactions where triangulation has occurred. So as you can see here, the first and third line here has no flag. So this indicates that it is business-to-business transactions for goods. So these would be all your T4 transactions. The S flag indicates business-to-business transactions for services. So these are all your T22 transactions. And if there were a T flag shown here, this would indicate a triangulation transaction has occurred. Now, to see a breakdown of the individual sales to one customer, in the value of supplies of goods column, click the drill button image, which you can see here. So triangulation is the term used to describe the supply of goods between three VAT registered traders in three different EU member states. For example, an Irish-based company buys goods from a VAT registered trader in, say, Belgium, and then subsequently sells the goods on to a third party that's VAT registered in France. The goods never enter Ireland and are shipped directly from Belgium to France. So to flag a transaction for triangulation, when you select the drill button image, as mentioned in the previous slide, you'll be presented with a breakdown of the individual sales to one customer. From here, you can select the checkbox if the transaction was triangulated and then click on Save. To print your VEES return, select the print option above. Now, if you want to see print a full breakdown of the VEES return to show individual transactions, select the VEES details checkbox. You can then select printer, preview, file, or email as required, then click Run. For a transaction to appear on the VEES return, certain criteria must be met. So if you find a transaction doesn't appear, it may be due to one of the following reasons. So if the transaction has an incorrect tax code, so it must be an EC tax code to appear on the VIS return. The defaults for these, as mentioned previously, are T4 and T22. If it doesn't have the correct tax code, you will need to delete the transaction and repost it with the correct tax code. The second reason would be if the customer record doesn't include an EC VAT number or country code, or the record didn't at the time the transaction was posted. Now also, if you use delivery addresses, you must ensure this too has the correct details. Again, after making any amendments, you must delete and re-enter the transaction. If the country on the customer record isn't selected as an EC country, so if you select the second address that is outside of the EU for an order or invoice, you can flag transactions for the VIS return even if the customer's main address is outside of the EU. To do this, you need to select the EU member checkbox in your settings and in countries. The fourth reason there is if the transaction is dated outside of the VIS return period. So if the date is incorrect, you can correct this by just amending the transaction. If the T4 or T22 tax codes aren't flagged as EC tax codes, you can check this by going to Settings, Configuration, and then into your Tax Codes tab and ensure the Enable EC Code checkbox is selected. So that's it for today, and thank you all for listening.